Thank you. Hi, Ruth.
That has to be the most kind of elaborate entrance, surely. Thank you. Bye, Mike. Bye, Robot Mike. This is a big auditorium.
It is, isn't it?
Have I been here before?
I don't think so. I don't think we've been in this room.
I don't recognize this.
I said it kind of looks like almost like a game show or something.
Yeah, is this like, what's that game show, the Korean one where everyone dies?
I'm not sure I know that one.
Yeah.
Squid Game.
Oh, the Squid Game.
Squid Game.
Okay.
That's my Squid Game.
You know that wasn't real.
Yeah.
That wasn't an actual game show.
We don't play that in.
It was a show.
Yeah, I know. I know, it's pretend.
It's a pretend show.
Felt quite real.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Did you all watch it?
No.
Somebody was like, no.
It's good.
Yeah, it was very good. Anyway, so we're here.
I like your skirt.
Thanks, I got it especially for coming to Nolan. To Norlands. Nolans, baby. Hey, I've seen so many people just say to other people in the street, hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
Hey, baby. Hey, babe. Hey, babe. I love New Orleans. We will take a question in a minute. We'll get around to it. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. And one of the first places I ever visited in America. I kind of thought maybe the rest of America was more like New Orleans. It's not really.
No, it's unique.
Yeah, and then of course, Rob has filmed here a lot, but I just filmed the Winchesters here. And that was super fun to come and work here, and I would love to do it again. Anyway, should we answer a question? Okay. What's your name? Where are you from? What do you want?
My name's Amanda. I live in New Jersey. I'm actually from North Carolina.
Oh.
And Ruth, I adore you, but my question's for Rob.
That's okay.
Rob, it's been like 3 years since I've gotten to ask this.
Okay.
Can I get a Tim Amundsen story?
I knew it was going to be something Tim Amundsen related. Tim Amundsen's story.
I mean, I have a Tim Amundsen story, but you don't want to know mine.
Okay, let's hear it. No, let's hear it. Tim Amundsen's story. My gosh, what a lovely man Tim is. Is Tim coming today? Good. I saw Tim yesterday. That was great. It's not much of a story. Yeah. Look, my best Tim Amundsen story, I guess, is that that when the Hillywood girls asked me to be in their Supernatural skit, whatever you call that. Parody, thank you. And they had me play Tim, which I always imagined was sort of a mini-me Tim. Because the Hillywood girls are quite short, as am I. And they were playing, Hilly was playing Dean. So my Tim was the perfect size for her Dean. And I put the wig on, that was a very Tim Amundsen wig, and I got to do the hair flip. And it was like, for the first time, I really felt like I got Tim. And I couldn't wait to go back and tell him that I just did the hair flip, and I was him, and he was blown away. He was so pleased. So yeah, I guess that's my story. Not much of a story, but just that I got to play him, and that was special.
That's a good story. You don't want to know mine?
Yes.
Okay. No, it's more just to say, like, the first time I met him was on set, and he's one of those people that he's so kind immediately, and he was incredibly complimentary just the first minute I met him, and then subsequently met his kids on set, and just a lovely person. And there was a point where I had no representation in America, and Tim introduced me to his manager, who was a lovely man who took care of me for a year or two. So Tim's just one of those people who's just so generous of spirit, and that's my Tim Amundsen story. That he helped look after me for a while. There's a lot of Tim love here. I can feel it emanating from you. It's so nice.
Yeah, everybody's kind of been teasing me the whole weekend, but it's been fabulous.
No, good for you. You picked a good one.
Yeah, you did.
Hi, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you want? Oh, I love your giggle. Do that again.
Hi, my name's Alea. I just have a question for Ruth real quick. When was the moment that you felt most connected with the character Sam in Supernatural? So like, when was the moment that you started to really bond with that character?
I think it kind of dawned on me. I think everybody here was probably onto that relationship quicker than I was. Probably, but in the car,
Yeah.
that conversation in the car, and I was nervous that day. I hadn't been on set.
What season was that?
I don't know.
Like your first season or
No.
like later in it?
So I had been. I really didn't like it. They killed me off camera. They burned me. Remember, they burned. I mean, it was Lucifer burned. I've seen it's not. They didn't act like nobody actually did that, but I felt like marginalised by it. They killed me off screen, and all you saw was the charred remains of Rowena. Except you could tell it wasn't me because it had broad shoulders and narrow hips. It was never me. But so I think after that, because that was the whole point, is that both Sam and I have gone through a similar trauma. Rowena and Sam were survivors in a similar way at that point. And I really love that. What I really appreciated about the whole show was I had a specific relationship with Dean, a specific relationship with Sam, a specific relationship with Misha, and of course, we need to mention Mark Shepherd. And even with God, I had a very specific relationship with God. I was his guilty pleasure.
That's right.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara from New Orleans. I have a comment for Ruth and a theory for Rob. So, Ruth, I did ballroom dancing for 3 years. And so when I watch a movie, I'm really watching like a waltz and making sure everything is the way it should be. Your tango was on point.
It was so fun. It was so fun.
Impressive.
It was so fun, and like at that point, the writers are kind of writing for you. You know what I mean? They know you can maybe dance or do something. But I didn't realize how unfit I was. And we had rehearsal, and it was like, oh my God, trying to kick my leg in the air again. It was a thought, but it was super fun and really hard to film, mainly because I had a mic pack here. There was nowhere else to put my mic pack. And of course you're getting picked up a lot, so I had a mic pack in my back, but it was still super fun. It was super fun. You didn't ask me a question, I just thought I'd say something.
No, you did a great job. And Rob, unlike Jared Padalecki, I have watched Threshold twice.
Hey, thank you.
My headcanon
Yes.
is that Lucas was Chuck's original vessel.
Whoa,
What do you think about that?
that's crazy. I like that. So Lucas was Chuck's original vessel. So Chuck was in Threshold.
God was in Threshold.
God was in Threshold, creating all that madness that was going on. And then he just pulled the plug after 13
And
episodes.
then he turned up in Lucifer and
killed
that up too.
Killed that show. I'm a show killer. Thank you so much. Yeah.
It should have been picked up. It was a great show.
Thank you so much. I agree. I had a great time doing it, and I think it was really special. And I think it was just one of those things where it just kind of got caught in the wrong time slot at the wrong time, you know. And it could have been something, but I guess if it weren't for that show getting canceled, Peter Dinklage would never have gone on to be in Game of Thrones, and that was an iconic role. But I had a great time.
Is Threshold the one where you've got the magazine printout from 2005 and it says... Yeah, so there's a magazine printout, it's so cool, and it's like the top 20 shows to look out for, and number 5 is Threshold, it's like one of the top ones, and then at the very bottom there's a show called Supernatural. So Rob was...
It was that every network had a Lost type of show, it was on the heels of Lost doing so well. In 2005, all the networks had like a sci-fi or supernatural kind of show. And we had Threshold, which is sort of dealing with aliens. There was Surface, something beneath the water. that was on NBC. ABC had some, everybody had something, and the CW was like Supernatural. And of all the shows, Supernatural was ranked least likely to survive, kind of thing. And obviously, joke's on them, because that was the show that lasted forever. And ours, I think, was the first to get canceled. And ours was like the one that was like, this is the show to watch, you know. But I do think the show's great, and it's called Threshold. It was on CBS for 13 episodes. It's worth a watch. It's Brent Spiner and Peter Dinklage and myself and Carla Gugino. It's a great cast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love it. Chuck is Lucas. Lucas was my role in Threshold. And yeah,
That's really meta, isn't it?
it's super meta.
I'm just beginning to understand what meta means. I know I'm slow to fandom, but I'm getting it now. I'm getting what meta is.
What's uber meta is, what if I am also a vessel for Chuck? What?
And that's a
And
phrase.
she will like me.
And is Uber meta a phrase or just one you made up right now?
Made it up right
I
now.
like it. I think we should keep it. Okay, good. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Miranda.
Where are you from?
Currently from Austin.
What do you want?
So, Ruth, I was wondering, what's your favorite song from Rob's solo album?
Star.
Also, Rob, if you could sing a little bit of it, maybe.
Oh, I like that. Star. I like the song we kind of did together, but I like Star.
Yeah, Star's
I think
about
Star should be in a movie or something.
Star's about Ruth, so she really likes it.
No, I'm not being totally narcissistic about this. I actually think it's a really particularly unusual, distinctive, and gorgeous song. And I think it's like the song from Moneyball. It's like that song that just, it could really, I don't know, I want to do a placement of your music in a movie.
You're a fucking gift to me. You're my star. There you go.
I like the other song as well, where you sang your, excuse my French, motherfucking Keanu Reeves, or sing it.
A motherfucking Keanu Reeves. Yeah, I don't cuss in every song, but those are like the two fucks.
And those are my favorites. Hi.
Hello, so I'm Sammy. I'm Tabitha.
Hello.
I don't know if you remember this, Ruth, about in November of the last convention year. I told you my sister couldn't make it to the convention, but she sent me the money for your autograph, so you grabbed my phone and recorded a video for her. And I just want to say thank you so much. When she sent me the video, I freaked out, and I was so shocked, and it was literally the best thing ever. And I really
Oh, I think I'm probably was saying something like, "Why are you not here? Come next time."
You're like, I'm from, Queen of Hell, all that jazz. But thank you for giving your sister the money. And, yeah, it was amazing, and I really appreciate that you.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here this time. It's so nice to see you.
Yeah, finally nice to meet you.
Yeah.
It's also, you have a great back and forth that was really well timed out. Oh, okay. It's great. Awesome.
You're both as cute as each other. Right? The little voices as well.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Elise. I'm from around New Orleans. I was curious, Ruth, if you love your character arc as much as I did.
Yeah, I was extremely fortunate. It was like we were at Comic-Con, and it was like Susan Ochoa, our friend who's an executive at Warner Brothers, and then Peter Roth. They were excited to tell me. They're like, "Don't tell anyone," but and what was going to happen, and Bob Berens kind of told me, and I was really happy, not just because I got to act that, but I was really happy for that character. I just wish it happened sooner, honestly, and we could have had more of Rowena running hell.
Very
And
grateful to see you back in next season.
yeah, but I felt it was important for the show that there was a woman got into power at some point, somewhere. So I was super fortunate. I feel like, Rob, you had a harder trajectory where you had to.
Yeah, I had the opposite trajectory. Yeah, I went from a beloved character to the most hated. But keeping it on you for a second, you had a great set they built for you for Hell.
I had a polystyrene. What do you call it? Polystyrene. Styrofoam. I had a styrofoam throne. That's hard to say. No, and I had styrofoam stairs and spike heels, so that was interesting. And no, it was amazing, and it was just really unfortunate because of COVID. You didn't get to see me down there making hell great again.
You are the queen. I remember I took a picture of myself in your throne and sent it to you. You were not happy.
I also, again, because of COVID, it didn't happen, but I asked Jerry Wanick, who is our overall big designer, visual person, amazing, lovely man. He's the one that did the book, you know, the book.
The production designer.
Production designer, thank you. I'm really, really not here with all my...
Overall place person.
Yeah, anyway, they did tell me I could have the throne. They were going to, and I thought I would bring it to the conventions and do photographs on the throne, but...
Thank God that's not at our house.
Yeah, but I think with the end of COVID and everything else, it all just kind of fell by the wayside.
Can you imagine to be like, and this is our house. Oh, sorry, her throne.
I think every woman should have a throne.
Totally, in their own separate house.
And you can have a throne too.
I'm good.
It's just me that needs
just
it.
my couch, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that your couch is your throne, that you inhabit very fully. Oh, and frequently. And well.
And well.
And well. Okay, hello.
Hi, my name is Richard. I'm from Dennis Springs, Louisiana. And I have a question for both of y'all. What are some of y'all's favorite stories about working on the Hollywood show?
So fun. It was so fun to do. They're really just lovely people. And I guess one of my stories is it really makes me look like a dum-dum. But I misheard them, and it takes them so long to get into makeup. And Hilly was Dean, and so they put little like pretend beard growth, and they just did it really meticulously. And for some reason, I misheard how they were doing it, and I thought they literally pulled her actual hair out on her own face with something.
It's so weird that you thought that.
I know. And then I asked them about
That makes no sense.
I don't think I had coffee yet. I was like, so what is the process that they take like tape and they pull it out? Because I think I heard that she had tape on it. I think just maybe they did that to sort of it's a makeup trick or something. So I was like, you're pulling out the actual hair. They're like,
Brain was working overtime.
they're like, no, Robert, no, that's not what we do. And that was a big joke for them. They laughed and then had me retell it on camera for their bloopers. But yeah, I thought...
You thought basically they had a comb over on their faces.
I heard her put tape on her face. I'm like, wait, so you had like tape and then you ripped it off and it pulled your actual hair out? You know, we all have hair on our face. I know.
I still don't understand.
I don't know. I understand. And I said it.
It doesn't make sense.
I know. I'm with you.
Women are illogical. I just remember being on set doing the Ghostbusters. I really feel sad that I missed the first video with everyone dancing and singing.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just was quite new to the show. I wasn't really in it yet. But I got to do the Ghostbusters one, and really the thing about how they work is they're so specific and meticulous, and it's very, it's almost like a dance. Sit up at this point, push this down, look. It's very choreographed, and there's really nobody better at doing what they do. Yeah, it's they've kind of created this new kind of genre almost, this kind of format, and I think they're terrific. And we had a really fun time with them in Australia. I remember we went to the wildlife sanctuary in Australia with them, and nice to hang out and get to know them more, and just terrific people. Yeah.
Yeah, they really are, and meticulous. So great at what they do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Hi.
Hi, my name's Tia. I'm from a parish right outside of New Orleans.
Aww.
My question is for you, Ruth. Kind of piggybacking off your character arc. So I was like 23, 24 when I started watching the series. And I'm sure like most of us, I've watched the series a lot of times, okay? And now that I'm older, and I'm looking at your character like in a different light, I'm wondering if Rowena had her own TV show, if Dean and Sam would be the protagonists or the antagonists.
Ah, that's so fun. I always wished there'd been at least one flashback episode for Rowena back in Scotland, where we'd gone back to 1700 and seen her. They'd have to have used that new technology where they make you young in the face. But where we would have seen her.
So you're only 100 years old.
Yeah, so it was only like 100 rather than 365. And where we could have seen where she came from, because there's real history there with witchcraft in Europe, with the church and the burning of 40,000 women. There's such richness of story available there, and I wish we'd have. There could easily be a series, you know, about all that time and how she was just learning her craft, because really, she was a herbalist, an apothecary in a way. I think, you know, those are other words that are probably synonymous with witchcraft in those days. But yeah, I feel that we missed a trick with at least an episode. But hey, there's always time, and especially as technology just increases. I could be 21 again, Robert. Can you imagine?
I can't, because you already seem that way.
Good answer.
So if Dean and Sam would be the protagonists, they would definitely have to be like heavily recurring guest stars. That's ridiculous. Saying that about Jared and Jason, because they're
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, they're just superstars. So
It's your show, man.
okay, I definitely I definitely would have God though. I definitely maybe after he went bad. Maybe I could have
before I went bad.
But I would understand. Rowena would understand you going bad.
Right.
She'd be able to relate to that. So that could work.
Yeah.
So you're just excited at the thought of a job.
I'm excited.
It's not real. But it's like the hair in the face.
Window
Thank you for your question. I don't think I answered it very well, but I tried.
No, you did. I think you did well, and it's a good show. I'm excited.
Sure, we're excited.
Richard Spade and I do this rewatch podcast, and you said you would watch the. Thank you. And you said you watched the show several times. I'm amazed at what you said about it's a real thing. Like, so many of these stories that they tell are based on actual myths or actual real things that have happened, but it's all real stuff. Like,
that was the premise, especially back. You're watching the early episodes. You can really see the stories of the week are these real urban horror myths.
We just watched this one with this evil doctor, Doc Benton. It's at the end of season 3, and he's like, he lives forever by like taking other people's body parts and putting them on himself. So he's like a Frankenstein kind of looking character. Anyway, it seemed to me like a wild thing that a writer had, a wild idea. And sure enough, there's a Doc Benton myth that it's all taken from. So I thought that was interesting.
And it reminds me of a book that I just read, Anatomy, a Love Story, that you bought me. And it's kind of the same story, but set in Edinburgh. So these things definitely were in people's minds and existed. And I think that's what's cool about Supernatural. Should we take another question? Hello.
Good morning. My name's Alice. I'm from New Orleans, and this question is for both Ruth and Rob. Rob, you had a cameo on The Winchesters with Loudon Swain, and Ruth, of course, we know about your surprise role, which you were delightful, by the way. And I was just wondering, when you appeared on The Winchesters, what was your favorite part of the filming experience?
Well, for me, it was like, it was different because...
the wig.
Because the wig. Well, they asked, they had this part for a band playing on stage, and Richard was down here, directing, and he was going to be in that episode, and so he said, you should get these guys, but not me, because, I'm Chuck in that world, so I can't just like appear on stage. And so they asked these 3 guys, and they said yes. And then the next day, Robbie Thompson, who's the showrunner, said, I feel like we can't have those guys down here without Rob. What if he's like, has a wig and he's just like playing keyboards, he's like in the back. And I love that idea, because like, why wouldn't Chuck be there? Right.
He's in every other bloody show, it sounds like, anyway. What do we know? He's in Threshold now.
I don't know if Rob Robbie agrees with me that was Chuck, but in my mind that was Chuck playing keyboards in that band. So it was fun for me to see how excited these guys were to be on a TV show, and, and it was fun seeing it through their eyes because they were very green in terms of all that. Like, oh wow, and now what do we do? What's this? And,
Bring you lunch.
What's that?
They bring you lunch.
Yeah. So it was super fun.
It was super fun to see all the photographs flying backwards and forwards. They really were like kids in a candy store about it. But the good thing about that is it doesn't really spoil Rob or Chuck for future. Does it?
I hope not. I hope not. I'd love to go back and be on that show as Chuck. So what about you, Rowena?
It was a really weird situation for me in that when I turned up, everyone was like, they know Supernatural, but it's a new show, and it was a weird new pressure where they were like, we've heard you're so great, we've heard you're so nice. I was like, oh shit. What if I'm not, and what if I'm in a bad mood? Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to let Jensen and Daniel and Robbie and everyone down. And it's quite hard in a way because it's your first day. Any job is we were nervous. And I hadn't done the character for a while, and I also just started another show that week, and that is like an actor's dream, but also it was like, this is quite hard. Like, I'm quite nervous. And so one of my favorite moments, really, you spend a lot of time in the hair and makeup trailer. They call it the works, which I think is really funny. Like an actor, like it's like a robot, like duk 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 duk. You get put the works, and you get spat out as the character. And these people touch your follicles in your face, not the follicles on your face necessarily, if you're a woman, but they touch all those things for quite a long time, and you get to know each other really well. And Chelsea, who was the head of hair, just really put me at ease, and the lady who did my makeup, everyone was she did such a great job with my eye. It just was such a nice, supportive environment. Immediately, I really think the crew were invested in what they were doing, which is why I really hope there's more that gets made. I feel like everyone really was putting their hearts and souls into it, and it was just a lovely experience in that way. And then, I don't know if it's not my favourite, it's just what came to mind when you said those times are really important before you even step on a set. And then I had a cloak. I was so happy to wear a cloak.
So, if only you could bring that home. Another funny story I had is when the band's on stage and JoJo comes on stage and he pulls the singer off, and we're all left on stage going, what's going on, And Billy was so into that moment. He turned to me, he's not even on camera, he turned to me, he's like, what the hell? What's going on? He's real method, and like I could see the camera turned off, so like I'd kind of turned off a little bit, but I had to stay in it because I had to really support his acting, which was just like, what is this? What kind of gig is this? Wow, Billy he's really given an Emmy award.
That's why he's Billy Moran, man. That's why he's Billy. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I really wish I had that hair. It was just so fun just to be that guy.
We saw the most amazing musicians in the street, and there was yesterday, and there was a man sitting, we've got video of it, and he's like, wow, like this voice that you would hear in a movie, and I think those people do exist in real life.
Well, I mean, in New Orleans, they're amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I said to Rob, I'm terrified about how talented they are.
Yeah, she said that. She's like, these musicians are so good, it terrifies me.
It actually does. It really makes me like anxious. Like, when people are so good at what they do, and you're like, they're just on the street playing it. You know what I mean? Like, how are they not like a superstar? Like, it doesn't make sense.
It was pretty cool too, because there was like 5 guys, and then like halfway through the set, I don't know what you call it, but they're playing a song, this one guy comes up with a banjo, he just like sits and starts playing with them. I'm like, is he in the band, or is he just a dude? I don't know. Is this a band even, or are they just some dudes?
I know, and then a lady walked by in a wedding dress. We presume it was her wedding day with her groom.
And everybody started cheering.
They started playing Here Comes the Bride for a minute as she walked past. She's probably going to be one of her memories. I would say of her wedding day.
And everybody cheered.
Everyone cheered. I love New Orleans. Don't you just love it?
I do. I really do. I love you in it. Yes.
I was going to wear it as an earring.
I think it's better on your microphone. Sure.
just wanted
Put it
it.
on your mic, it worked good.
I had it glued in.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And if you haven't seen it yet, please watch The Winchesters.
Who's not seen the Winchesters?
You should see it, it's really good.
And who's not seen Walker?
You should see it,
You
it's
should
really
see it.
good.
Hi, my question is for Rob. Considering your character arc, how long did you stay with Becky?
It's like that Beyonce song, Becky with the Hair. Is that right?
So we were together, things are going pretty well. I had the convention, she really helped me through that tough time. Then all of a sudden, she goes a little wacky and has a thing with Sam. And nobody told me this. And then I find out about it. This didn't happen on screen, but I found out about it, and I broke up with her.
Did you smite her into oblivion? Is that how you broke up with her?
Not yet. Not yet.
Spoiler alert.
I did. I broke up with her because she cheated on me with Sam. And then I had some other things. You know, as God, there's a lot to do. And then I had this whole fight with my sister. And then whatever, we went away and went to heaven and kind of worked it out. Then I kind of like came back and I was like, I need to destroy the world. And she was my first stop, you know. And she really helped me through this story I was working on. And then my motivation was, you cheated on me with Sam, and so I snapped her into somewhere else. But she's not dead, she did somewhere else.
So the question was how long? Like how long was this relationship?
The relationship lasted maybe like a year and a half, 2 years, 2 solid years. It was really great.
And how long was it just exclusive with just you and her before Sam?
2 years, the whole time. Like when was that? Right, so their affair happened like maybe a year and a half into our relationship.
Okay, it's not straight away.
And it wasn't a full-on affair because I don't think Sam was down with it. It was more Becky's doing.
This is really messed up, you guys.
You tell me, that's what I'm saying. What's really weird is I'm God, I wrote the whole thing. That's, okay.
You're a sadomasochistic God.
You know what's a great show is God and his therapist, working through these things. That would be a good show.
Who would be your therapist? Curtis.
Yeah, Metatron would be
That's what I
pretty
said.
good, yeah.
How did I think that?
I don't know.
I would like to watch you and Curtis just do tons and tons.
Yeah, I could see that. It could be revolving therapist. Maybe one week it's Castiel. I could see him as...
No, I would not take advice from Castiel.
Maybe it's just that I want to do a scene with
I
Misha.
would not take advice from Misha. No, I would and I would. Hi.
Thanks for your question.
Are you a redhead?
I am.
Oh, well done.
Last time I was here, you actually played with my hair for a second.
Sounds like you.
Sounds like me. Not on her face, though. Not on her face. Have you ever stuck your hair to your face?
Yes, multiple times.
Oh, like deliberately to make it look like a beard?
Yeah, I like made it.
Oh, wow.
Mustache. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm from Alabama, but my question is for both of you guys. It's actually if Chuck and Rowena got together to create their own world, what would that look like?
Ooh.
Pink champagne fountains, chocolate fountains, all self-cleaning.
Of course.
Hey, pink champagne and chocolate fountains also.
Everywhere,
like
for everyone.
Okay. For everyone, in every room. I like it. Yeah, lots of pink blankets lying around for
Oh, squashy blankets.
when you get cold.
Sofas.
And then lots of places where you could do your magic.
Spring weather, crystals, dungeons.
And then what could be in it that I might like, that God might like?
The dungeons.
The dungeons? Okay, sure. A smiting range.
Yeah, it depends. See, this thing is, if it was bad God, if it was end of days God, yeah, we'd just have a rear tear and we'd just be smiting everyone. Put them in a dungeon and tickling them to death with with wet tea bags.
You'd be like the, who are the famous bad guys, but there are a couple, Warren Beatty in the movie.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde. It'd be the Bonnie and Clyde of the end of the world.
Rowena and Chuck.
Yeah. But before that, when things are good, I like the pink and the chocolate fountains and the spiting range.
Spiting range.
The smiting
range.
Yeah.
You just get like.
How was your day on the smiting range? Pretty good. I had about 4 smites.
Pajamas and ramen noodles.
That'd be pretty great.
Would you like to be part of that, Heaven?
Absolutely. I love pink and chocolate.
See, I know the demographic.
A woman's touch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This side now, I'm getting dizzy. Hello.
Hi, I'm Maya. I'm from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And Ruth, I love you, but my question's for Rob.
That's perfectly fine.
So I recently binged my way through House MD, and I was really surprised by the number of actors that were on both Supernatural and on House MD. And so, Rob, I was wondering what the experience like on the set of House was compared to Supernatural.
Well, it was a great experience being on House, and I have a fond memory of it. Supernatural was its own thing because by the time we got to season 14, 15, like these were my friends that I was working with, right? So Supernatural is a very unique experience that isn't every set because it was 15 years and it was 80%, 70% of the crew was the same the entire time. And certainly we traveled the world doing these conventions with the actors, and so I was just so friendly with them and it just felt like home.
There's such a relaxation that happens on set and a smoothness that really is unusual.
Yeah.
And there's a space then to be they're so welcoming to all the guest stars. Doesn't happen everywhere.
Yeah, although House was great, and I remember, and they were very welcoming, and they were very nice, and I remember Hugh Laurie off camera would still talk with an American accent, and I thought that was really interesting. He's so English.
Your pal Hugh.
My pal Hugh, and he was telling a story. Like sometimes on shows like that, they'll be like Hugh will have his own area, and then the guest stars will be over here. But this show, everybody's together, which is always a good sign because he's a good sport. And anyway, he was telling a story. He's like, in England we have this commercial, and then but he told the whole story with an American accent. I thought that was interesting.
He used British words in an American accent.
Yeah, because he was talking about this commercial, and he's like, whatever, we put the bin liner in
the advert.
In the advert, and yeah.
Because we don't say commercial.
We opened up the boot, and we took the lift.
Yeah, this is like not quite right.
Mind the gap. So it was interesting. He was telling this very English story, but with an American accent. But yeah, it was great, and it was all on a set, and it was super fun to be part of that.
What part were you playing?
I was like a medical, like someone from the medical board who basically was like reviewing House, who was very like outside the norm of, that's not the way you do things. So I was sort of like judging him.
My parents were most excited when you were on Bosch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You played somebody slightly medical then, didn't you? A bad doctor.
Bad doctor, yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun when we're on shows that our parents watch.
Suddenly it all makes sense.
I know.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm from Lafayette. My name's Layla, and I'm from New Orleans. And I don't know if you can see him, but I also wanted to introduce you to my service dog right here. His name is Lucky.
Hey, Lucky. Hi, Lucky.
I was just wondering, Ruth, how did it feel playing a morally gray character as a female, especially because you don't really see female characters playing roles like that are so loved by fans?
Morally grey. I feel like she was morally fluorescent pink or something. I felt from the jump. The first episode I did was Soul Survivor, and yeah, the initial tiny piece of script that I had, yeah, she could just be a flat baddie, but I felt from the jump like I took on the Soul Survivor element. So from the jump, there's some depth, and if somebody is acting out in a certain way, it's usually because something's happened or they've gone through something, and I think that's a thing that everyone can relate to. because we've all gone through stuff. We all don't end up learning witchcraft and pinning people to the ceiling, but sometimes we feel like it. And so Rowena, in a way, I think is also, she's just such an outlet for any, I'm a pretty good girl in real life. I try to be a good person, so it's really fun to play someone who's a total bitch. And does not care, and does not, I think one time they wrote the S word, the sorry word, into the script and I didn't say it. And I think that just is so fun and empowering for other men and women to see. I've not met a single male who's seen the show who had a single complaint about Rowena. You know what I mean? I don't think it's just for women. I think it's really fun to see a woman unapologetically muddle her way through and be imperfect, but kind of good at what she does. And I'm so, what a fun journey, and what a fun, I don't know if I'll ever have as much fun as that ever again. Quickly, one more question so it's not just me talking at the end.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is, if your characters had to switch bodies, what would be the first thing you would do?
Choose someone with,
You're God, you're Chuck.
I'm God. I thought you were going to say, which body would you choose? I didn't know you meant each other, because I was just somebody tall, just to know.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming to our panel.
No, okay, so if we were swap into each other's bodies, what would be the first thing you would do?
Yeah.
I'd play with my willy.
I don't know if I can top that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to top
So sorry, there's young people in the audience.
Yeah. You're God. You're the all-creator, omniscient God. The first thing you do is you play with your willy.
I feel like that's the first thing men do with everything anyway. I don't. Is it too early? No. It's too early.
If I was Rowena, the first thing I do is play with Chuck's willy. So, thank you so much, everybody. This is Ruth Connell. She's a black magic woman. She's a black magic woman. She's a black magic woman. Got me so blind that I can't see. She's a black magic woman, and she's gonna make a devil of me.